Welcome to Get Real with Jack and Cindy, where the stories aren't polished and the advice isn't trendy. We talk houses, markets, and the life that happens in between. The wins, the screw-ups, and everything unseen.
We are going to be talking about AI in real estate photographs and videos. Welcome back to Get Real with Jack and Cindy. I'm Cindy Morrison.
And I'm Jack Wallace. I'm the real Jack Wallace, not the AI Jack Wallace.
And we're no AI twins. We're actually really.
Although you can do that.
You can.
Yeah.
I'm actually learning how to do that.
Yeah, it's very cool. Except I don't know that I trust someone else to be me.
Yeah.
I'm so critical of me. I can't imagine how critical I'd be of somebody trying to be me. It'd probably be easier on them.
Yeah. Well, there's so much going on with AI. You know, sometimes when I look on Instagram and I'll watch a video, I'm like, did this really happen? Or did somebody create it and manipulate it through AI?
Yeah. And I think it's a valid point. And I think we are getting into that like realm of whether or not it's the right thing or not sometimes. And I think that's always that thin line we walk. And, you know, like, you want to put the best face forward, but you want it to be realistic representation of what it is you're selling.
Exactly.
And so that's always been a thin line. I mean, it's kind of like, people act like that's a new phenomenon. It's kind of like when you look at a photograph and the bathroom looks huge, and then you get in there and you go, this is a tiny bathroom. Then you notice that the toilet looks like it's 12 feet wide.
Yes.
Because the camera is a wide angle lens. So that isn't new, that the technology is not representing the reality at the best all the time.
And I think you do yourself a disservice if you have crummy photographs and videos.
Oh, absolutely.
Or videos or photographs that don't really represent that house. Like you said, it looks big, but it's actually really small. So you want it to be representative of the home, but when you bring AI into it, what does that do? Because I know with all of my photos, I take the original front picture of the house and I put it into a twilight photo because it makes it stand out on MLS where the sky is, you know, a little Oklahoma dusky, the lights by the doors are on, the windows are kind of lit up. It just gives it a different look, but it's the same house, just a different time of day of when that photo was taken, because I feel like it shows the reality of that house in its best light.
And here's a good example of how you have to be careful about that, because there was a period where they were putting AI fires in the fireplaces, and then a fireplace didn't work on a listing, and they went back and showed the photo where the fire was in the fireplace and sued the people because they misrepresented that the fireplace worked, even though on the disclosure it said that it didn't. The pictures made it seem like it did.
So you want it
so you have to think it through. Yeah, you have to think it through.
Or even, you know, I think anytime you do
or
that,
say this is what the house could be. This is AI staging. This is, you know, manipulated to show you what a remodel could do. I think those were very important disclosures that you have to make when you're representing them that way.
And I've done that in the past when I've had a house that was clearly needing a makeover. I would have big posters that would show the kitchen different renderings, and I actually paid somebody to do these renderings back in the day.
Which another person would do when they were buying the house, and you kind of push that forward for them. Yeah.
Exactly. So when they walked in, they look at the kitchen and they go, wah, wah. But then they see the photos of literally what it could become.
Right.
And it really did sell the house because it was somebody who was wanting to redo it. I think you can do that with AI as well. You just need to disclose, you know, here's the picture of the kitchen.
Right.
Here is, you know, with one of the exceptions being, you know, do you know if that wall can be taken out and stuff like that. But, you know, I think...
And I think that's a good point, Cindy. I don't think you want to go in and change structures.
Right.
But you might...
Unless
you know that the structure can be changed. You know, if you have an architect or an engineer who says, yeah, that wall can come out, then okay, go for it. But in general, I would stick with really what's there now and making it look better.
So maybe you show it with what it would look like with painted cabinets, new countertops, new knobs, new sink, but it's all the same thing. But you need to disclose that is an AI generated rendering of that home.
Of an improvement. Yeah. Because I think that's really, it gets into a weird zone. It does get into a little bit of a weird zone. But why wouldn't you put that forward? Why wouldn't you show potential?
Exactly.
I think that's what we do it with staging. I mean, people pay lots and lots of money to have houses staged. I don't see a whole lot of difference between that and the other, what we're talking about. I think that it's interesting though when people go too far, and like we said, they don't know what they're doing as far as what's actually possible, and they go too far. That is an issue. But
right.
Otherwise, just showing how pretty it can be, I don't think that's wrong.
Because with the one with the kitchen, I knew that the wall could be torn out because they were actually renderings by somebody I brought into the home. But, I've done that before where it's a neighborhood where everybody has pools. Well, here's a rendering of what a pool could look like.
Right. And it might be good to have like before and a possible after. And really make sure that you're representing what it is now.
Yeah, don't just put the pool video.
You need to show what it is now also. Yeah.
But I think it's inevitable, and I think it may be a misstep on an agent's behalf if they're not trying to show the best light of the house, but also what the house could be with a little elbow grease.
Right. So then what, in your opinion, is going to be the biggest shift that AI, other than what we're talking about, what do you think is going to be the biggest shift that AI is going to make in marketing properties?
I think showing the possibilities. I mean, how many times, I just watched a video today and it was of a luxury property and all of a sudden 2 Porsche pop up in the driveway. It goes to a night scene. The Porsche lights come on and they drive off. Did any of that happen in real life? It did not.
The lifestyle video.
But yes, it's more of showing a lifestyle and what a
Porsche is going to look like in
the
driveway.
Exactly. Not necessarily what you look like in the driveway, but what the Porsche looks like.
I think it'll get to where where you can have the picture and you can even put change paint colors. Like you can do kind of almost manipulate and play with things to where you can do it yourself even as a consumer. I think we'll get there.
And they have that now. AI can actually go through, and I think it's really helpful if you have a picture of an empty room, you have what it looks like, and then the next one you have it AI staged explaining this is AI staged. But they can go, oh, I see where the couch could go.
Yeah.
Or here it is with modern furniture. Here it is with traditional furniture.
Yeah. And that's a problem even one of the reasons why we do staging. Everything is just to make it look polished and pretty, which it is, a lot of it. But it's also because you can have a living room that looks too small to people, and then you put furniture in, they're like, oh, that works. Or you have a room that looks huge that they can't figure out how to make it cozy, and then you have furniture that shows, oh, no, this really can be really a great living room for my family. So, it's function and fashion, both. And I think AI can do a lot of that without having to spend the money. There's just sometimes you don't have the money to spend.
Exactly, because staging, and I love staging, but if you have an empty house, having somebody come in and stage it, as you said, is extremely expensive.
The other thing is you can do side-by-side staging of an English pub or a contemporary. Where if you do staging, you're kind of picking one look and putting it in the house. So I think it gives you the opportunity even to do the living room could look like this or the living room could look like that. However you want to go about it.
Well, and with the actual staging, I had one where the stager came in and did a beautiful job. All the furniture was light and bright. It really showed off every room. But when the homeowner saw it, they were used to their heavy, dark furniture being in there and they hated everything. And so we had to start over at square one. It would have been a lot easier if I could have said, hey, give me an idea of what your furniture looks like.
They made you change it all. Wow. That's sad because it's the other side of it is okay, well then we could have just used your furniture. If you can't.
They had already moved.
And so the difference, let's talk about the difference between staging and decorating.
Yes.
We've talked about this a lot, but there is a big difference because decorating is making it yours and personal. Yours and personal. And staging is making it more generic to the public to appeal to more people. So that was kind of shooting themselves in the foot by doing that because well, you could have just used your furniture then.
They'd already moved.
Yeah. But still, it's just, it's sad that people can only see their vision.
But, but maybe it might be a good idea is if they're going to stage, you sit down, and show them different
Oh, I see
Sorry,
what
the
you're saying.
same
Instead of just
cop.
the stagers coming in and just doing it and then go, here, do you like it? And they don't. Yeah.
Right. So showing, hey, here's some of the modern furniture
Which I
that
think
they
every
have.
time I've had people do that, like, this is the furniture we'll use.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of that makes sense. Maybe that's why, because then situations like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're really in a cool area, and I think that's what we keep talking about. It takes an agent to make the decision to use the AI and then know how to use the tools to make the thing to show the house the way it needs to be. That doesn't just happen because an AI thing does something.
Right.
There's a lot of human steps that go into all that. And so
because if AI does it, as we know, ChatGPT, if it doesn't know an answer, it oftentimes will make it up.
right.
So it could, if there wasn't a human involved, it could change all kinds of things about the house that are a
Absolutely.
reality. So that's why,
Well, even down
we're
to
the
the fire in the
gatekeeper.
fireplace. If you just let ChatGPT do it, it could put the fire in the fireplace without thinking about that. But we go, wait, does that work? So those kind of things, those safeguards, you kind of need a human to do it.
So I have an AI fail for you. I was doing a video and I was trying to put a fire in the fire pit. Well, instead, I had a burning bush.
Biblical.
I was like, oops, okay, we need to try that again.
And that's the other thing too. That's really good you said, because prompting is still the most important part of AI. Getting back to having humans, the prompting makes all the difference in the world, and you have to know how to prompt. I mean, that was what we called it. Remember when we took our class? It was how to train ChatGPT.
Yes.
It was training your model.
Mm-hmm.
But back then it didn't have any memory. So each thread you had to train it all over again. And now it remember, but you have to still train it and prompt it.
Right.
So that prompting makes a humongous difference. And I think especially with real estate, knowing the words that you use that are inside industry words, even down to like your descriptions need to be ChatGPT searchable. Instead of it just being like telling this beautiful story of the property, it needs to have more detail that would be searchable, because that's what it searches, not just the listing.
And so let's go back about why we're talking about this. Originally,
because that's all we talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Originally, when virtual staging came out, I mean, it was hugely controversial.
Yeah.
That furniture doesn't exist, you can't do that. And literally, I had people say, you cannot do that. Mm-hmm. Well, we've advanced so much that I think, not using everything to your advantage to sell a house is to your seller's disservice.
Right.
So let's say, I could list a house and I could go take pictures with my iPhone. Is that the real house? Yep, that's the real house.
Yeah.
Am I going to do that? No. I'm going to hire a professional photographer. They're going to put the right filters on it to put it in its best light. They're going to take the right angles. They're not going to use a fisheye lens on a small room. So they're representing it, but they're putting it in its best light. This is, I believe, just taking it a step further.
Right. And I mean, honestly, you want people to walk into the house, and it's better to have it staged so when they walk in, when they're looking at it, they get the feeling of it and experiencing it. But that is very expensive to do that, mm-hmm. and just not always going to be the best case scenario. The other thing that I think is really interesting is the augmented reality glasses, and how we might get to a place where in a vacant house you could do virtual staging and do an actual walkthrough, and it be staged through the glasses.
I love that idea, because how many times do you have a vacant house and somebody says, well, which wall would the TV go on?
And then if you could put the glasses on, and you could have programmed staging that overlays that house, I think we're going to get there. I haven't really heard anybody talking about that, but I'm waiting for that Oculus to make that, because that would make it so cool. And again, you could go, let's do modern, let's do English, let's do French, and you could have like the same house and it do different looks.
Yeah.
We should develop it. Well,
and I've seen homes go over tremendous makeovers where it was siding, and they took the siding off, and they put up rock, or they put up brick, or whatever it was. Those are going to be expenses, but to be able to show different ways this house
Bring
could
it up
look.
to date or make it your own.
With some
absolutely.
TLC, or you walk in and all the appliances are avocado green. Of course, that's back again, but all the appliances are avocado green. Well, what would it look like if you had a stainless steel one in there? And I just think there are lots of potentials. There just needs to be rein it in where it is still representative of that property.
Yeah, and it is funny too because I've had as many people get upset because the photos were too good as the photos weren't good enough, because then they get in there like, well, I wasted my time because your photos were so good that the house isn't anything as pretty as your photos. And sometimes it's like you literally get photos back and you go, oh, it looks too good. Like people are gonna think it, because then people get there and like, oh, you don't want people to get there and be disappointed.
Especially if it's a makeover.
You want to get them there, but sometimes that can backfire. So you have to you do want it to be very realistic, but yet the best light.
Yes, but realistic being the key.
Because if it's a small, cozy little midtown bungalow, and you use wide-angle lenses and bright light and light the room with all, and then people walk in and it's dark and cavernous and small, they're gonna that's not the house they went to the house on the pictures, and that's not the house they're going to want.
And it could be, I've even had it where the furniture was in the house when we took the pictures. Then they moved, and now it looks dark and cavernous because the lamps aren't there anymore, and there aren't as many overheads.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's funny too because when I worked for Charles and we would do magazines, my job was to help coordinate all the magazine shoots and make it. And it's I always tell people, it's design. You want your house to look like a magazine. The houses in the magazine don't look like that because they light them we're lit right now, but
to bring our best foot forward.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they light stuff, and they'll put things where they're really truly too close together to really make sense, but it looks good for the photo. So it looks like this room has all this amazing furniture that you really couldn't even get in the room. Yeah, it's tricky, and they would spend an entire day photographing one room with a big crew. So it's just interesting how you can go so far with all that. And when I first started, we literally had little digital cameras. Then we went to our phone, and I remember for a while every exterior photo had the car door in it because everyone just. That's what we did. Everyone did that.
And that's a realistic photo.
And then it became where people started paying. Now everybody pays for professional photos. It's just. Some ways I wish we could go back to the camera thing, right? Because it's so expensive.
But a lot less expensive.
I don't think we're going to do that anytime soon. So yeah.
No. Yeah. Even videos. When you put them together, it's going to be a zoom into this room or a cool transition. That's all about getting people to watch and using AI for those transitions or those zooms or ramps or whatever it is. I even now have a couple of programs where I take the photographs of the homes and it'll do a 360 or a 180 around the house and back around. And I took that from a photo. That was AI generated. I again have to watch it and make sure the side of the house actually looks like what the side of the house looks like. But nobody shot that video. I didn't hire a drone. I actually was able to make that from AI. So to think that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it is true. We're kind of going backwards a little bit. We are getting to where we're doing a lot more of our own stuff because we can.
Yes.
So yeah, it's always an evolution. It is, but it's again, you got to just make sure. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right.
But you also shouldn't not use it just because it's different and new.
I just did one on a luxury listing I have, and I had it from the photograph, had it zoom into the house as it turned dusk and the lights came on, which never happened. Then it kind of bounces and then it backs back. There was no earthquake. There was no dust.
That's really cool.
It was from one picture generated by AI, which I feel like gives people a really good look of what that house looks like day and night.
Right.
And then the transition, the bouncing back up and down, keeps people's attention, so hopefully they'll watch more of the house and want to come see it.
It's like we've always said, our job is to tell the story of the house. That's always been what we've said about real estate and marketing houses. And AI is just helping us tell the story differently and better.
Yes.
So I think it's everything is about And I think sometimes you have to be careful not to get caught up in the technology, the coolness of the technology over what it is we're trying to sell.
Right.
Like sometimes it's like, okay,
oh wait, what? No,
that's
I'm just kidding.
no, I don't think you do that. I think that's like I sometimes those videos are so like that I'm like I'm getting seasick. Like I can't. I didn't even get to focus on everything because they move so fast and do stuff. Like you have to pick and choose when you do those effects, but like show the house off. I mean, they have to always remember the house is what we're selling.
So
You have a look
I'm going to go a different way for this.
Okay.
I've had that happen where people are like, the pictures were going by so fast or it was so zoomy. Did you make an appointment? Yes, I wanted to see more. I liked what I saw.
Yeah.
And it kept my attention to watch the whole video to then pick up the phone and call my agent and make an appointment.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So sometimes when it's the social media aspect, yes, we are marketing the house, but sometimes marketing it is catching your attention so you don't just keep scrolling.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And like, we've talked about this before. Like, there's some of the ones that are being done in other states where the people are hysterical. But it's also like, I don't think I would want that. Like, they're insulting the house or the people that would buy the house and it's like, is this a real agent? And they're real agents selling this house. But yeah, I just think we always have to think about it. We're trying to show it in its best light and most realistic light.
Absolutely.
I do love, the drone shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I undervalued how great that was. And now, like, to think about how you really see how that property lays out in the neighborhood and the backyard. And, I mean, it gives you such a different vision because so many houses, the front does not tell the story of the house. And, also, being honest, seeing the next door neighbor and there's, like, all kinds of stuff in their yard or, like, or they have a beautifully done outdoor area, but they're going to be out there a lot.
Sure.
Like it tells you some things about your neighbors a little bit too.
My favorite drone shot is when you have a big piece of property and you don't really know where the property lines are. Yeah. The one that I had out by the Oaks Country Club, through AI, able to put the property lines so you could see from above where that property was and where the other houses were in connection to that 2.5 acres.
When you're walking the property, you can't tell what you own and don't own, especially when they go like, jet around.
But by the way, if agents are listening, one of my favorite apps, this has nothing to do with AI, is Regrid. So if I'm on a property and I'm showing it, whether it's my listing and I'm there while the buyer's agent is there or I have buyers, and I can pull up that app and actually show them where the property lines are.
Really?
And a lot of times hunters will use that when they're hunting so they don't go across property lines and,
Regrid. Okay.
Regrid, yes. And there's a free version. You only get so many per month, but
how many do you need?
Yeah, exactly. But a property that just got multiple offers, you can't tell where the property line is. And I literally was able to pull that up and walk to where it said the property line. I mean, it's not going to be set in stone, but approximately here's where it is from the satellites
and pin and all that,
and tax records. Yeah. So anyway, that's it's a tech, but not an
There's
AI.
so many fun things now. Like it's just like it's really getting. I mean, it's kind of like very Star Trek-y to be a realtor now.
I love it. And we're such geeks that we really love it.
We do.
What are your favorite AI tools that you're using right now?
I'm kind of going old school. I just am really enjoying, I really am going back to what chat can do because it's changed so much and it can do so much more. And then Google, all the stuff Google's coming out with. I mean,
Google
honestly,
Notebook is amazing.
G.AI, like all that suite of stuff. It's crazy stuff. I mean, it really is. That Notebook LM's unbelievable.
Yeah, Notebook LM, Nano Banana.
I mean, I don't really even understand how to use Notebook LM, and I think I've gotten a lot out of it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's so much that's available that it's just, I don't know, it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time. And I think, we're going to start getting to where there's more integration in the houses with AI. Mm-hmm. So I think we're also sort of missing the boat a little bit right now on that part of it because
Smart homes are going to be a whole new smart home.
But it's like, it's all wireless, so it's not like it's endless possibility of what's available without doing all this rewiring and programming and like they've always done. It's like, remember every house had sound systems wired into it, and now that's like...
Oh, I still have the intercom in my house from 1989.
That's so funny. And they never worked well.
No. But they were better than nothing.
It's so funny.
I mean, that's how I listen to my babies upstairs.
And now you really, like, every time you go in a house and the radio still works and you can still, But most time you're like, intercom doesn't work. Intercom doesn't work.
Yeah. In fact, I keep thinking of pulling mine out of the wall and drywalling over it.
Mm-hmm. How funny. Yeah, no, I think just going back to kind of that part of it and because I'm a numbers guy too. So like, marketing is my thing, but numbers are really my thing. And so like, there's just so many, now the idea that you can do your own programs, your own apps. I mean, like, there's just so much that we can do now. It's
your own
crazy.
GPTs.
Yeah.
I actually just took a course on building and not just building other GPTs from what I've done, but they gave you done for you GPTs. And I was going in there and just going to town.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You'll share those with me.
I will.
No, I think anything to make it more streamlined and make it, like I would say, I'm always looking for what it will do that makes me be able to be more human in front of my people.
Yes.
Because if I can get the background work and the background noise to do stuff and I can do what I do and be in front of people, it's kind of like open houses. Like, I know a lot of people don't like open houses. I love open houses. I love, especially when they're busy. I love shaking hands, talking to people, and figuring out how to help people. Like, there's just nothing like that. And so that to me is very human. And so when I'm at the open house, I try to let go of the technology and just really try to focus on being a human.
Yes, I agree. And I really encourage newer agents to do open houses. I know working Saturdays and Sundays, no fun. I mean, I'm usually doing my builder's open house from 2 to 5 every Saturday and Sunday. So I get it. But the contacts that you make, and not just, this may be somebody else's listing you're sitting on, but if you can get a buyer out of it, whether you sell that house or sell them another house and get their listing, Shazam, that is some of the best time you could spend.
I'm honest with my sellers. Open houses are not necessarily to sell your house. I mean, I'm happy to do them because I like, but the truth of the matter is that very rarely sells that house. I think we're getting to where it does a little bit more because
I think I've had 5 in my career.
The changes in the way people look at houses. I think it's a little bit easier to sell it than it used to be at the open house. And I think some people just don't like to bother their agent. They're out on the weekend. It gives them a chance. I mean, there's good things about doing it for the seller for sure. But I think in general, it's more about us being able to talk to people, and set things up and gather information.
Which again is the offset.
And you learn about the house from the neighbors.
Yes.
I mean, I've learned so much about houses from the neighbors going, well, this was da-da-da-da-da-da, or people that, this weekend I had with someone who grew up in the house, or that, they could tell me stories about the house. So, I mean, I figured out stuff about that I didn't know. So, I mean, it's informational for us too.
I hear agents say, oh, well, it was only neighbors. I'm like, That's about your own salespeople going out and telling their friends about that.
Think about how many people say, oh man, if anything ever comes to selling your neighborhood, let me know. And they want those people in their neighborhood.
Especially when they're moms, because they want their friends that their kids play together in their mom group.
It's all good till it isn't.
But they're your best.
They really are
PR people to tell people about.
Well, and even like
house.
you have kind of pocket buyers, like you'll have the one private school that they all sort of live in one area, and then they're like, and they can carpool and do stuff, so it's very convenient. I think it's very. It's interesting because I do think I think it's good to tell sellers, the expectation of I'm going to sell your house this weekend is not probably very high, but it's possible. But it's always good to get exposure to the house. I mean, I think that's always a positive thing. Exposure
of people walking through it, also social media exposure.
That's the other thing. It gives you a reason to have it on the feed.
Yes.
So that's good.
So when people say, oh, open houses don't sell homes. They actually sell you. They may sell the home.
Absolutely.
And it's that personalized touch that you don't have with AI. So combining those together is a great 1-2 punch.
And it's a pipeline builder. You got to build a pipeline in business, in any business, but especially, any kind of networking business. So, no, I do think it, and I think then you follow up with AI, and there are so many things now that you can do with people when they come, and you can get them in your system and, help them, and then it helps you, and then make it more automated. So I think it's all coming together. It's really amazing, but I just still like the human part of it.
Yep. Me too.
So I think people listen to us talk about AI and they think somehow we want to step away from it and let that do it, and it's not that at all. It's just it's a huge new tool bag to use and do what we do well, which is help human cells.
Yeah, so you can get out from behind the computer and get out in the community selling those hands, kissing babies, shaking hands, all the things.
And artificial intelligence will always feel artificial without intelligence.
Yeah. Very true.
I think that we have to really, you're going to have intelligent human minds always making sure that it sounds right and it is right.
All right, so to wrap this up, I know on our first episode we talked about some of the things that we were streaming. Love The Rip on Netflix.
I heard good and bad about it, but you didn't.
Loved it. But I also was watching with my husband who likes action movies.
I love them, so yeah, I'll have to watch it.
And I heard an interview where Matt Damon was saying, when he and Ben Affleck had done stuff before, it was always building up to a crescendo at the end, and with streaming it's totally different because you have to build in characters. And build it in where people are like, oh, that was good, I want more, oh, I'm gonna stay, oh, I want more, I'm gonna stay.
I was reading it and he was saying that now Netflix makes them put the plot in 2 or 3 times verbally because people are on their phone.
Oh, how interesting.
He said it's changing the way that they make television because it has to spoon feed more because people are not just paying attention, they're doing other stuff and watching.
Not to call out my daughter, but we make her put away her phone when we're watching because she will look up halfway through the movie and go, what's happening?
That's
anything
so
you've watched?
I like Heated Rivalry. It's good.
Oh, yeah?
It's really good. And then it's sort of interesting too, it's just an interesting act. The acting is so good. It's really, really good. But then also, this is an old one now to a lot of people, but have you watched Perfect Neighbor?
Oh, I've been wanting to watch that.
It's awful, but it's so interesting. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just an interesting, it's hard to believe there's just people that way. And I think it was what we do a lot of times, neighborhoods, and it's just interesting. I think Perfect Neighbor is one. I would not suggest it if you're somebody who doesn't like kind of dark things, but it's an interesting exploration of people and humanity.
There's some really good documentaries. The Titan, remember the submarine?
Yeah.
Who's the guy who had the island? How quickly we forget.
Epstein.
That's
you forget Epstein.
I know. That's an interesting documentary. And I finally finished the Going Back in Time to Save JFK.
Yeah.
Finished that series on Netflix. Definitely worth the watch.
And it's an older one, right? It's new.
It's new. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't watch a whole lot this last couple of weeks, but I haven't watched it very much. So I'll get back to you. It's funny because Chris and I have been going back and forth on what we've been watching, but it's been mostly kind of things we've already watched in the past. But that Perfect Stranger was one. There's that new one, the influencer. Bad influencer or whatever, evil influencer.
The kid influencer?
I don't know. It's child abuse and all. I can't do it.
I was glued to it. So to be fair, Marlo has been doing her surgical rotation in Grove.
Oh, interesting.
So I went and stayed with her for a week. So we kind of, when she would get home at night, we would binge watch. And she and I both were just glued to that. I'm like, who does that to their child? Apparently a lot of people.
Can't. That's what I'm getting. I don't know. I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, why am I watching stuff that makes me just really doubt humanity and even more than I do? It's just
makes you appreciate your own life.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Well, we better wrap it up.
Thank you guys for being here, and we promise we will keep it real, even with artificial intelligence.
Amen. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Get Real with Jack and Cindy, where the stories aren't polished and the advice isn't trendy. We talk houses, markets, and the life that happens in between. The wins, the screw-ups, and everything unseen.